the New York Freedom Fighters, where we talk all things New York. And we know New York City is a hot topic these days. And here in New York City, our spotlight guest, our featured guest is Council Member Joanne Ariola. Before we bring her in, as you see her on the screen today, I just want to show you the graphic. New York City nightmare. Politics gone wild, bad policies, angry New Yorkers. What the heck is going on? Plus COVID update. Let's let me introduce at this time Cozy. But before, I just have a little announcement. Please, mi gente, like, share, subscribe. As you know, lions like us are always censored on the algorithm. They don't want you to know what we've got to tell you. This is boots on the ground, like you need to hear it. So activate the Bochinche gossip line and get the community. Let them know that we've got some important chats to have today. Cozy.
What's going on? I don't think my camera's. What's going on here?
No, we can see you.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
So today's, well, first of all, my name is Cozy. I'm a fired healthcare worker. Got fired because I refused to get the COVID vaccine. And I'm very happy to have Joanne Ariola on to talk about how helpful she has been in our cause, and we really thank her for it. And before I go further, Mark for NY is here to introduce himself.
Unmute.
Not. If not, then I'll.
Okay.
Yeah, it said the host muted me, so I couldn't unmute myself until just now. But how's everybody going? Doing today? Little technical difficulties, but I'm here. Great to have a city council member joining us as well, Joanne. Thank you for joining.
Great to be here.
Ran for city council myself before. I'm not sure if you're aware of that. And it's a district that was heavily Democrat that almost flipped red and then got gerrymandered more after my election. They saw that it was winnable, so they wanted to change that. But believe it or not, for those of you who are not in New York, there are Republican areas in New York. It's not just Staten Island. We have some red areas in South Brooklyn, of course, Joanne's district in Queens and Vicky Palladino's district as well. So, but thank you for, I know minorities, it's like kind of like children trying to make the rules in the household because nobody listens to what the Republicans want to get done in a minority, but you're there fighting the good fight. So I appreciate it.
It's my pleasure to do so.
Welcome, Joanne. Tell us, how are you today? If you could remind the community, what are the areas in Queens that you represent? And let us know a little bit about, some of our audience members are meeting you for the first time.
So I represent the 32nd Council District, which is the western portion of the Rockaway Peninsula, up through Broad Channel, Howard Beach, both Old and New, and Lindenwood, Hamilton Beach. Then I go up in portions of Ozone Park, straight up Woodhaven Boulevard. All of Woodhaven is in the 32nd Council District. That was just redistricted into the district, and I couldn't be happier to represent all of Woodhaven now. And I have a portion of Eastern Glendale. Again, was during reapportionment, I was able to acquire Glendale in our district, and we're so happy to be representatives of Glendale. So it is a very long community and district. In fact, I like to say it looks like the boot of Italy, but I've been known to make it from the tip of Breezy Point all the way up to the northernmost portion of Glendale in one night just to make meetings, and that's very important to us. I have an amazing staff. I know that you know my chief of staff, Phyllis Cirillo. She's been a warrior with us all the way through on all the unvaccinated issues and every other issue that comes up. I've lived in this district for the better part of my life, and I've raised my children here, and now my grandchildren are here. And New York City is very important to me. And as minority leader, I represent the entire city at the city council. And common sense, I'm part of the Common Sense Caucus. I'm the chair of Fire and Emergency Management, the only Republican to chair a committee. So that was pretty big. And you're right, Mark. It isn't easy for a Republican to get elected, but in areas like Vicky, like mine, and that, I mean, outside of Staten Island, but we have a lot of Democrats in these areas that are more conservative, and they're less liberal or progressive. So we do stand a chance, especially when we're common sense oriented, which we are.
That's
I
so
was
fantastic.
I
Well,
was more referring to being a minority in the city council and trying to actually get things passed. I try to tell people who aren't familiar with politics, who are like, Vicky isn't doing anything, or, Joanne isn't doing anything. It's like they can't pass laws that they want because they are the minority. It's a lot of people don't understand that they think, we elected, these are our Republicans, why aren't they doing anything? Because there's very little that you guys could do, unfortunately.
I think it's a matter of having a relationship with the speaker, but I've passed a number of bills that hold our agencies accountable, and Vicky is poised to pass a bill now, as well as Christy Marmorato, who unfortunately was not reelected, but she passed a bill. Members of our delegation have passed bills. Are there as many bills passed by the minority delegation as there are in the majority delegation? No, but at least the bills that we pass really matter and help the residents of New York City.
Yeah, a lot
so I
of
have
those are nonpartisan bills, but
Mark. So I just
yes.
wanted to share. We have about 10 to 15 minutes left, and we have a couple of questions that we'd like to ask. So, if you wanna, just so we can keep that in mind, the time frame.
The other thing is Mark, is that when you're working in the city council, yes, it's a little difficult, more difficult for us. But again, relationships mean everything, and getting bipartisanship, sponsorships on your bills, that helps a lot in getting them passed. But what Vicky and I and the rest of the delegation do within the district and providing for our district and bringing home money for our schools and our parks, and making sure that we have enough police, and making sure that we're on the ground fighting for our district. That's really what our constituents look at. They love that we can pass some legislation, but what they're really looking at is, how are you fighting for me? How are you making sure that my kids are in school and are getting the right education? How are you making sure that there's enough police patrolling our districts? Our potholes are fixed, things like that. And I want to say that especially my minority whip, Vicky Palladino, she's a rock star in her district. And so we have to work harder. We can't just coast on our enrollment like a lot of the Democrats do. We have to work hard, and we're not afraid to work hard.
So I've got a question. Do you have, there's been so many updates in terms of like the reinstatement of fired workers. Is there any update to your knowledge regarding that, or any update that you would like to share with New Yorkers who are sort of confused about what this means for them?
We were involved in this for a very long time, as you know, and fighting so hard. And this is, as I mentioned, Phyllis earlier, working with the different agencies to get people their jobs back, and it was so difficult working with the mayor's office. And then at some point, probably a year ago, the mayor said to me, the current mayor, he said, "Well, I have a plan. Don't worry about it." Well, it was a year and the plan still had not been revealed, and we kept asking. And then out of nowhere, he rolls out this plan that was rolled out so discombobulated, like no one really understood it. Was it all agencies? Was it people who were just fired? Was it people who were made to retire? Was it people who were put on LWAP? Who was really able to come back in? No guidance was given. And when we called the agencies to find out, because our phone was started to ring and say, look, how do I get back? There was no real policy as to how to get them back. So we started to call the agencies. This morning we were on the phone with H&H trying to figure out how those employees can get back on. And every time we asked, there was some type of different different response. But we continued. So what we found out is that everyone, I don't care if you were LWOPed, if you were fired, if you were made to retire, just get your request in by Friday, December 5th. You must get it into the HR department of whatever agency that you work for and ask for reinstatement. The reinstatement is not the way we had wanted it, with back pay and with no further appeals for the Article 78s, but this is what rolled out. So our suggestion is make sure you contact HR, and only permanent employees are being reinstated. So if you were a provisional employee, then you cannot request reinstatement. And so, but it's important, if you were permanent, you must send that email to HR by Friday, December 5th, so that you would be deemed eligible. And we're going back and forth, as I said, with the agencies, trying to figure out who is eligible and who isn't. With the DOE especially, they can be reinstated, but then they have to find a job. It's not their job that they're going back to. So that's a problem, especially when teachers are in high demand. And when you speak with anyone, they're saying that teachers, we have to increase our classrooms and class sizes, but we don't have enough teachers to go around. So it's such mixed messaging, but that's what we've been getting all along, because the city really doesn't know what they're doing with this. They rolled it out haphazardly, and there's I guess what I want to really stress is that you must keep everything in writing. This process will overlap, it'll change in the next administration. So whatever you do, make sure you're keeping your emails, keep a file, keep everything in writing. Don't do it by phone call. Make sure you have documentation.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And if you want more information, people, Michael Kane, Teachers for Choice, has done a lot. He put all the information, who to contact, what to do, all the steps there. So please go check out Teachers for Choice. He has a Substack, so Teachers for Choice, teachersforchoice.org will lead you there. So some extra. Thank you so much, Joanna, for stepping up. You are really important. There's only 5 out of 51. I think it's 5 out of 51. Basically 5 Republicans out of 51 city council members. So you're really important, because you're like the little, I wouldn't call it a monkey wrench, but you're kind of like, you're pushing back on the narrative, right? It's unbelievable, the stuff that they try to pass. I want to quickly talk about something that I saw Rosangel repost, one of your tweets, and you were talking about this new bill, which they have like something crazy, like 26 sponsors on already, which pretty much targets landlords with 3
Mhm.
units or more. Could you tell us a little bit about that bill?
So that's the COPA bill, and that does have support from the more, it's I would call them the DSA members, the members of the Progressive Caucus. And what it does is really infringe upon your right as a homeowner, where if you have a 3-family or more and you'd like to sell that, you would have to first contact HPD, who would contact not-for-profit organizations, and give them, at first it was 120 days and then 60 days, but give them 2 months at the very least to find a not for profit, to see if they want to purchase your building before you could even sell it to a relative, to your children, to
Unbelievable.
anyone. Or if you have someone that wanted to buy it and approached you and you decided, yeah, sure, I want to sell this, you'd have to go through the city of New York. And that is communism. That is what it is. And people don't understand that. And with a new mayor coming in, like Mamdani, you don't know how far he'll take that. Will it be our own one-family homes? How far will it go? And we have to stop this communist way of thinking, in that that they own our properties. Now, I also believe that there will be lawsuits brought against this legislation, and I think that the lawsuits can be won because it's unconstitutional to try and take your home. We're Americans. We
Yeah.
bought those homes, and if a not-for-profit wants to buy that home, they can go through a real estate for fair market value and purchase that home. They don't need the city of New York to guide them in into how they can purchase it and hold you up from from selling what is your property.
Yeah. So are you forced to, like, because I'm trying to understand this, right? So it is, I don't, like, are you forced to sell it to them, or are you just giving them time to
No,
kind of,
you're not forced to sell it, but you have to hold on to it. Why should you hold
yeah,
on to it
you're
for
wasting
any
time.
length of
Yeah.
time? Especially if you want to take, say you own a 3-family home and you would like to then have one of your kids purchase that home from you, and but you would have to first go through that entire process, and it's unconstitutional, it's illegal, it infringes on home ownership
Correct.
and your right to sell what is yours, what you purchased with your money. And as I said, if a not-for-profit is interested in buying a building, they can go through a real estate and purchase it at fair market value. We don't need the government telling us how long we should wait to sell our property or who we should give the first right of refusal to. That's just ridiculous.
You're absolutely right,
And
and I'm
and
glad you told us about this, because you know, you alarmed the people about it, and we've been sharing it, we reposted it, and going to get into it more. But do you have any advice on how we can stop something like this? I mean, obviously, you said the courts will
well,
probably throw it down, but in the
yeah,
meantime,
right now, I mean, we look each stated. We have a stated meeting coming up on Thursday. It's not on that agenda, but if it goes forward during this session, then we will immediately drop a lawsuit.
good, good. Well, let us know how we can help, because we'll get the word out and we'll do what we
Oh, I
can.
know. Listen, I've been working for a very long time with all of your groups, whether it's For Choice or the Bravest, and it really, we've become such partners and extended family with you guys, and we stand shoulder to shoulder with you because we're not going to give up what we know is right, which is our right to our medical health, our right to our property, our right to our children's education, and how we want it to be, our children to be educated. And that's what is coming, our right to have police officers and not social workers, things that are coming down the pike. And I was happy to see that Jessica Tisch decided to remain, but knowing her and getting to know her as well as I have, I know she did that for the department, because a department that she reveres. But I don't know how long she'll be able to put up with the nonsense that may be coming after January 2nd.
Wow. I know that we need to start wrapping up. Mark, do you have a question that you'd like to ask?
No, I mean, I think you guys covered most of the bases. I guess I wanted to just reiterate the importance of the Republicans. I know there's not, you can't pass Republican issues in the city council, but you can pass nonpartisan issues. You can be aware of what they're trying to pass and what's illegal. Like they actually passed non-citizens able to vote, and then it's the lawsuits that made sure that that didn't happen. So, and in this communist housing bill, we know that the lawsuits, it's probably going to pass, but then immediately, like you said, you guys will be there on the ball to make sure that it doesn't become a law. So, and the local Republican districts are run a lot more efficiently, like you said, with potholes and the things you can do with the budget. So it's greatly appreciated that you, Vicky, are out there fighting the good fight. So I do want to thank you for that. There are people that don't want to get involved as a Republican because number one, it's hard to win, and number two, when you do win, it's hard to get things done. But you get a lot of things done in your district, and I know the people in your district appreciate you, and we appreciate you being with the Medical Freedom family over here. fighting the good fight. And thank you for what you do.
It's an honor to do so. Thank you, Mark. And it's really been a pleasure to come on. As I said, this is my first podcast, but I hope it won't be my last. I'd love to come back.
Oh, absolutely.
Definitely.
Anytime, especially if there is something urgent that needs to be communicated. You know how to connect with us. We're all connected, and
Mhm.
in some way, all the experiences that we've lived through has kind of connected us and cemented our plight. It's almost like family in a weird way.
It's
Uh,
true.
so I appreciate you. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us. And again, thank you to you and your staff. Such an amazing team. And mi gente, New Yorkers, do not get discouraged. All politics and political leaders are not all crazy. We do have common sense on both sides, but you've got to listen to who's saying what. So thank you again. Any messages, or if you want to let people know if they want to connect with you, learn more about you and the things that you're doing in District 32.
So the best way to get me is do through our email, district32 at council.nyc.gov. But we are working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you call the office at 718-738-1083, we get a message on a weekend, a holiday, it doesn't matter. We're always working. We're always advocating. And that's just how it is. That's why I ran in 21. I had a race. We won overwhelmingly. I ran in 23. I ran unopposed, and I ran in again in 25 unopposed, because we get the job done.
And
All
congrats
right.
on your
Thank
reelection.
you.
Thank you
Thank you.
so much. Have a great evening, and we hope to see you real soon.
And before you go, I want to say thank you so much for standing your ground when everybody was ditching Curtis Lewa. You stood up and you showed your courage and your loyalty and being real, a real human being. Because a lot of these politicians have no backbone. They literally jumped party lines to support a total loser, a total abuser, and I was very disgusted with many Republicans that did that. Uh, whether it's
Yeah.
federal, whether it's talking heads, influencers. So I'm very proud of you, really proud of you, and it's just amazing that you stood up against this because I know what
Yeah.
kind of pressure must have came your way. I know it.
They knew better than to pressure me. And I'm so glad you brought that up, because the minute I committed to Curtis Sliwa, it was solid. And yes, there were a lot of people that were vacillating. There were a lot of people that had promised, other candidates, or got behind Curtis's back. And what they really did was hurt the Republican Party, because we had a good candidate on a solid line. And yet people were jumping ship to a fellow who put us in the position we're in now, Governor Cuomo, former Governor Cuomo. The reason why we have to fight to get people back to work, the reason why we can't get cops to
Right.
come on the job, the reason why we have EDPs all over our streets, and we have criminals in our streets, and they want to close Rikers Island. How could a Republican in good conscience support someone like him? And yet they did. But not only did they hurt us in the mayor's race, they hurt us in the down ballot. And we had council members that were not reelected that should have been, and council members that should have been elected in open seats that weren't. So shame on them. You're right. Shame on them.
Shame on them, big time. Yeah, I made a whole song about them.
Oh,
Well, that's a PG
Yes,
NC-17 rated, no, PG-13
it's
song.
okay. It's
But
okay.
we don't want to hold you up. Thank
Yes,
you again,
thank you
Joanne,
so
and
much.
we look forward to connecting with you very, very soon. Happy
Thank
holidays to you
happy
and
happy
your
holidays.
whole
God
team.
holiday to you
bless you.
guys too. God bless you. Bye.
Thanks
Thank
again.
you.
Good night.
All right, mi gente, that was Joanne Ariola. I don't know where Cozy went,
I'm here.
pero
Give me a second.
he's
I'm
off
plugging
the
in. Give me a
screen.
second. Give me a second.
Um, I'm gonna pass it to Mark because you need to do your wrap up for Brooklyn Free Speech, correct? Oh, I can't hear you, Mark.
I pressed the unmute and I muted myself.
I tried to
So,
mute and
but
it wasn't
yeah,
muting.
the name of Cozy's song is "Bunch of Homosexuals." It is out on all platforms. It's a AI song that's hilarious and it is very fitting. And I want to add that Curtis Lee, on Thanksgiving, was out there with the Guardian Angels giving out food to the homeless. So he got backstabbed, and he's sticking by the "Improve, Don't Move." That's the candidate that you guys wanted to backstab. That's the candidate that you decided to, become a homosexual instead of supporting the guy with the good heart. That's a true New Yorker. That's still out there helping the homeless, even though he didn't get elected. He didn't run over to the Hamptons like Cuomo. He didn't go and complain and or anything. He just basically he was hurt and he was wounded because he got backstabbed by a lot of people that he thought were friends. And but he's still a true New Yorker and a good-hearted one, still helping the homeless and still doing what the Guardian Angels do. So shout out to Curtis Lee for doing that. It's the holiday season, and one of the best gifts you could get is Cozy's Pure Soaps. One of the natural soaps. Very good quality, very good scent. I've talked about them before. Go on Cozy's Pure Soaps on Instagram and make sure you guys go and pick some of that up. Great holiday gifts or for yourself. So there's that.
Cozy's Pure Soaps. So
Oh, my bad. We air. You're muted, Cafecito.
So many technical difficulties today.
That
but
was
it's all
that was
good.
my bad. Sorry.
No
And why am I
problem.
not on the screen? I don't see myself. Can you guys see me?
Yes, we could see you. So yeah, so we air 8 p.m. Mondays on YouTube, Rumble, Cafecito Break's website, as well as X. So make sure you're following Cafecito Break on all platforms. And we air this live episode is archived on Brooklyn Free Speech every Saturday, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. It's channel 56 on Spectrum, channel 69 on Optimum, and all 5 boroughs of NYC on Verizon 44. I just want to mention that when we had in South Brooklyn, Bay Ridge, we had Marty Golden as our state senator, and the crime was better. The homelessness was down. As soon as we lost the local candidate in Bay Ridge, you saw crime increasing. You saw the homelessness on 86th Street, which is a huge shopping area, homeless in the streets. So the local politics is the most important, because I noticed a vast difference from the neighborhood it was 10 years ago to the neighborhood it is now after the Democrats took over. And we have a Congress member, Nicole Malliotakis, but she doesn't handle a lot of the local things that your state senator, state assembly member, and city council member handles. So it's, if you want to change in New York, the way to do it is to vote Republican. You keep doing the same thing over and over again and voting for a Democrat, and then keep complaining that, the crime in the neighborhood is in horrible shape. Maybe try something different and see what a Republican can do. But with that being said, that wraps it up for Brooklyn Free Speech. And we'll continue the live stream. If you want to see our episodes in entirety, make sure you're checking us out on all those other platforms on Cafecito Break. Thank you.
Awesome.